I honestly don't think that it is possible to lead effectively if you don't practice self-reflection on a daily basis. And for the sake of clarity, when I say lead, you don't have to have a position to lead, a title to lead. That's not leadership. If you want to lead in your own relationship, your family, your community, in your workplace, even if you don't have a title or position, then self-reflection is probably the most undervalued and yet the most foundational practice that you can incorporate. And the reason it's important is because we all know life's busy. I don't need to spend time convincing you of that fact. Life's busy, and sometimes what happens is we go through our day and so much happens and we get pulled in many different directions all the time. And if at the end of your day you get into bed, switch the light off, fall asleep, wake up, start the process again, there's no check-in point. There's no point at which you stop and review and evaluate your day. How did I do my day? How did I respond to certain things? How did I handle certain things? What happened today? You see, self-knowledge is knowing stuff about yourself. Self-awareness is being able to detect that as it plays out in real time. And self-knowledge must precede self-awareness. But self-knowledge is not enough. We need to progress towards self-awareness. And how do you create self-awareness? You create it through self-reflection. And the simplest way to self-reflect is to commit to incorporating, even if it's 10 minutes, at the end of your day, or if you prefer first thing in the morning, I prefer it first thing in the morning. And then what you do is you think through your day, not the day ahead, the day you've had. Starting at the beginning of your day, and think through everything that happened through the course of the day, noticing how you handled certain things, how you responded to certain things, and just generally what was going on for you. What you'll find is that sometimes you'll notice that you handled a situation really well, and then celebrate that. Give yourself a pat on the back. Celebrate it. Acknowledge it. Sometimes you'll find that you didn't handle it so well. Maybe you were reactive, or you just could have handled things better, or you could have behaved differently. You could have done things differently. And then ask yourself, if you had to do that again, how would you handle it? The very act of playing that out in your mind fires off the same neural circuitry as if you were actually doing it. So when you stop and you review your day, and then where necessary, you replay how you should have handled it or could have handled it, you actually start training your nervous system to show up that way, to behave that way, to handle things that way in the future. And the more you do this, the more you will get to a point where in the moment you start to notice it while it's happening. And that's called self-awareness. And self-awareness enables choice. Because if you only catch yourself afterwards, then it's already happened. But when you start catching yourself as it's happening, you now have the choice to handle it differently, behave differently, deal with it differently. And self-reflection helps you get to that point where you become self-aware in the moment. The other benefit of self-reflection is it helps you to process your day. so often we get to the end of a busy day and we just go to sleep and we don't stop and actually process the day. Back in hunter-gatherer times, the men would go out hunting and the women would go out gathering, and then they would sit around the fire and talk about their day, and there was a way of processing. In more modern times, if you sit around the table and have a meal together and you talk about your day, it's a way of processing your day. Self-reflection is another way to process your day. And if you self-reflect in the evening before you go to bed, guaranteed you will sleep better because you've processed that stuff in the day. So if you're serious about, if you're wanting to lead and not react to your life and not participate in reactionary patterns and cycles, you want to rise above that and lead relationships and lead people into positive, more proactive, more constructive spaces, then you must start to incorporate self-reflection in your day.